Welcome to Capital Catch-Up. We are diving straight into the legislative docket today because there is a massive slate of bills moving through the House that touch on everything from your grocery bills to national energy security. Let's start with a trio of bills focused squarely on community and firearm safety.
That's right, Victor. We are seeing a renewed legislative push on gun control and community violence intervention. The centerpiece here is House Resolution 7599, the Federal Extreme Risk Protection Order Act of 2026. This is essentially a federal red flag law. Historically, we've seen red flag laws implemented on a state-by-state basis, starting with Connecticut back in 1999. But this bill attempts to create a unified federal framework.
It allows law enforcement and family members to petition a federal court to temporarily remove firearms from individuals deemed a danger to themselves or others. Building on that safety theme, we also have House Resolution 7446, the Community Firearm Safety Act of 2026, and House Resolution 7445, the Evergreen Community Safety Act of 2026.
The impact of these on everyday Americans is quite profound. Rather than just focusing on restricting access, bills like the Evergreen Community Safety Act generally funnel resources into local, grassroots violence intervention programs. It's a holistic approach to neighborhood safety, trying to catch the root causes of violence before a tragedy occurs.
Shifting gears from public safety to national infrastructure and resources, there is a fascinating energy and tech block up for debate. House Resolution 7061, the Protecting American Energy Security Act of 2026, is moving alongside House Resolution 755, the Critical Mineral Consistency Act of 2025.
The Critical Minerals Bill is huge for anyone driving an electric vehicle or using a smartphone, which is practically everyone. For years, the U.S. has been heavily reliant on foreign supply chains for lithium, cobalt, and rare earth elements. House Resolution 755 aims to streamline how the federal government classifies and supports the mining and processing of these minerals right here at home, reducing our dependence on overseas markets.
Exactly. And speaking of modernizing our daily lives, let's talk about the highways. House Resolution 7239, the Next Gen Collision Avoidance Act, would standardize and likely mandate advanced automated emergency braking systems in newer vehicle models. If you commute daily, this legislation is directly targeting the reduction of rear-end collisions and pedestrian accidents.
And it's not just physical infrastructure getting a look, it's digital too. House Resolution 5419 is the Enhancing Administrative Reviews for Broadband Deployment Act. We all know the frustration of the digital divide, especially in rural areas. This bill seeks to cut the bureaucratic red tape that slows down laying fiber optic cables. It essentially forces federal agencies to speed up their review processes for broadband projects on federal lands.
Speaking of federal lands and public spaces, the House is looking at several bills addressing the great outdoors and our oceans. Let's look at House Resolution 3340, the Modernizing Access to Our Public Oceans Act.
I love this one. It's about bringing maritime data into the 21st century. It requires the government to digitize and publish geographic data about federal waters, like fishing restrictions or anchoring bans, on accessible platforms. If you're a recreational boater or a commercial fisherman, you won't have to guess or rely on outdated paper charts to know where you can legally operate.
And on the commercial fishing side, we have House Resolution 3692, the Captain Accursiano Gus Sanfilippo Young Fishermen's Development Act. The commercial fishing industry has an aging workforce, and the barrier to entry, buying a boat, permits, gear, is incredibly high. This bill creates a national grant program to support training and education for the next generation of American fishermen.
Keeping with the outdoor theme, there's a highly specific but important bill for riders, House Resolution 4386, the America the Beautiful Motorcycle Fairness Act. Historically, motorcyclists have sometimes faced unequal fee structures or access issues at federal parks compared to passenger cars. This bill ensures that motorcycles are treated fairly under the America the Beautiful National Parks program.
Let's transition to social services and healthcare, where there are some critical protections being debated. House Resolution 7316 is the SNAP Payment Security and Fraud Prevention Act of 2026. Lenny, card skimming has become a massive issue for families relying on nutritional assistance.
It really has. Everyday Americans relying on SNAP have been losing their grocery money to high-tech thieves who install skimmers on checkout machines. Because EBT cards largely still use old magnetic stripe technology instead of secure microchips, they are incredibly vulnerable. This bill pushes states to upgrade EBT cards to chip technology and improves the process for reimbursing families who have their benefits stolen. It's a lifeline for food security.
Along those lines of financial security, we have House Resolution 7224, the Secure Revenue Clearance Channel Act of 2026, which looks to tighten up secure channels for federal revenue processing, ensuring taxpayer dollars are handled with modernized cybersecurity standards.
On the healthcare front, House Resolution 7336, the ALS Better Care Act, is a massive step forward. Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis is a devastating disease, and managing it requires multidisciplinary care: neurologists, physical therapists, respiratory specialists, all in one clinic. This bill creates a specific supplemental payment code under Medicare to properly fund these multidisciplinary clinics, making sure patients don't lose access to this life-extending care.
We also have House Resolution 2196, the National Emergency Medical Services Memorial Extension Act. This builds on previous efforts to establish a permanent memorial in Washington, D.C. for EMS providers who have died in the line of duty. It extends the authorization to get this memorial built, ensuring our first responders get the permanent national recognition they deserve.
Finally, in our bill roundup, House Resolution 4307, the Enhancing Detection of Human Trafficking Act. This ensures that Department of Labor personnel receive specialized, recurring training to spot the subtle signs of human trafficking during their standard workplace inspections. It turns everyday labor inspectors into a frontline defense against exploitation.
Now, looking ahead to the actual mechanics of how these and other issues will move forward, we have some significant committee action scheduled for March 5th. First, the Appropriations Subcommittee on Interior, Environment, and Related Agencies is holding a Member Day.
For our listeners who might not be familiar with the term, a Member Day is a specific hearing where members of Congress who don't sit on that particular committee get the chance to testify about their priorities. It's essentially an open mic for representatives to say, hey, my district desperately needs funding for this national park or this EPA water project, before the committee actually drafts the spending bills.
Exactly. Later that same afternoon, we have a full committee markup of 9 bills. Let's demystify markup. When a committee holds a markup, they are literally taking the text of a bill and marking it up with edits, amendments, and revisions. It is the crucial drafting phase where the fine details are hammered out before the committee votes on whether to send the bill to the full House floor.
It's where the actual legislating happens, and it's where bills can be completely transformed or quietly killed. So what should our listeners watch for in the coming days? Pay close attention to the markup session on March 5th to see which of these bills survive the amendment process. You should also watch how the Federal Extreme Risk Protection Order Act fares. Gun safety legislation always faces an uphill battle, and the procedural moves on that bill will tell us a lot about the current bipartisan appetite for federal mandates.
We will be tracking all of it, from the critical mineral supply chain to SNAP benefit security, right here. Thanks for tuning in to Capital Catch-Up.